So, could you please go ahead to see the agenda? Thank you. So we will start with opening remarks by Ellen Micha, my colleague and team leader of the Asian and Latin America and Caribbean team. Then Elke Schimmel will present us her findings of a report she conducted for the Green Cooling Initiative. Then we are very happy to have Betzabe Parra here, a cooling technician, who will give us some insights from her own experiences as a technician. And I hope you've seen it in our email. We offer an extra half an hour for mutual exchange. So we will have presentations until about an hour. So in Germany, it would be 3 p.m. I don't know what time it would be in your countries. And then we will start some breakout sessions to have some more possibilities for mutual exchange between each other. So, and with this, I hand over to you, Ellen.
Thank you, Kerstin, and a very warm welcome to this Females for Future, Women in the Cooling Sector webinar. Welcome in particular also to Betzabe and to Elke for joining us and for contributing. It is wonderful to see both familiar and new faces or acronyms. For some, I know who's behind the acronyms here today in this session. I would like to start out with briefly to say a few words about the refrigeration and air conditioning industry. Probably most facts are known to the majority of you, nevertheless. So it is a vital and rapidly growing sector. It's estimated to employ over 12 million people globally. However, there is a significant shortage of skilled labor in many regions. And despite this demand, women are substantially underrepresented. The International Institute of Refrigeration has published a study this year where they found that only 6% of the members in national refrigeration and air conditioning organizations are women globally. So we think it is crucial to give women in the RAC sector a platform to voice their needs. And one platform is the Green Cooling Initiative website, where we have videos where technicians and trainers from around the world share their perspective on gender equality in the cooling sector. And then today, a report and handbook will be presented that are based on interviews with female professionals in Bangladesh, Kenya, and Colombia. You will hear or read about varying political, cultural, and economic contexts, and the interviews actually revealed that challenges faced by women are strikingly similar, independent and regardless of their current location. And the interviews also revealed that action is necessary and it is possible to overcome the barriers which exist. This event today aims to foster dialogue and collaboration to identify challenges and unlock innovative solutions. So we invite all of you participants to share your experiences and ideas throughout the session. And we're very much looking forward to hearing your experiences and also to benefit jointly from your ideas. We want to learn from each other and also set the course towards a more inclusive RAC sector. GIZ Pro Klima is organizing this event on behalf of the German Environment Ministry in the context of the Green Cooling Initiative. And since 2008 already, the German Environment Ministry has been actively supporting its own green cooling projects through the International Climate Initiative. And the Green Cooling Initiative is one of them, and the implementation is guaranteed by GIZ Pro Klima. A few more side notes. GIZ the Deutsche Gesellschaft für internationale Zusammenarbeit has a gender strategy. And at GIZ, we believe that change towards gender equitable societies is possible. Our strategy focuses the efforts to push even more effectively for equal rights and opportunities for all genders. And promoting gender equality and especially equal opportunities are key elements of our mandate, and this is also valid for GIZ as a company itself. And besides the GIZ gender strategy, there's a second strategy of the International Climate Initiative. And there's recognition in this strategy that environment, biodiversity, and climate policies are actually not gender neutral. There are close relations between gender relations and the adverse effects of climate change and causes of climate change and biodiversity loss. Gender norms, roles, and relations have a significant impact on access to resources, information, knowledge, and decision. And therefore, unequal contributions actually do affect the causes of climate change and biodiversity loss. And there are different degrees of vulnerability according to which gender you belong to, and also the resilience which has negative effects depending on your gender. And factoring in gender relations in projects, in context, in working context, does enable us to tackle climate change, biodiversity loss, and their impacts more effectively. So all the projects of the International Climate Initiative focus on achieving a gender-just society in which every person can do their part to support climate action. So again, this is the context that GIZ Pro Klima is organizing this event today. Thank you for all of you to participate, for your interest, also for Kerstin and her team to organize it, and also to the contributors, Elke and Betzabe. And I wish all of us an interesting and constructive webinar, and please let's work together to create a more inclusive and sustainable future for the cooling sector. Back to you, Kerstin.
Thanks a lot, Ellen, for giving us some context and introduction to the topic. And now, with no further ado, I would like to hand over to Elke Schimmel. Elke is an urban planner and anthropologist, and she runs the consultancy November City, which is specializing in socially inclusive urban development, in sustainable mobility and nature-based solutions. Elke has over 20 years of experience in Europe and in the Global South, and designs participatory planning processes that focus on the needs of disadvantaged groups, and she also focuses on gender equality. And she has written our handbook and report on women in the cooling sector. And I'm very happy that you're here today, Ellen, to present us your findings.
Yeah, thank you, Kerstin, for the introduction, and thank you so much for the invitation and for the opportunity to speak here today. And I'm also especially grateful that I had the chance to work on 2 reports that focus on a topic which is still far too often overlooked, and that's the role of women in the cooling sector. When I speak about 2 reports, then one of the reports contains recommendations for action, while the other one is more detailed and includes also additional background information and gives information on the context. And together, these 2 reports, they give a global overview of women working in refrigeration and air conditioning, and they take a closer look at 3 countries Ellen already mentioned, which are Bangladesh, Colombia, and Kenya. Those reports, they explore how we can make it easier for women to enter the field and how we can better support the career development of women in the field. And when I say we, I'm referring to quite a wide range of roles and functions, because almost all of us here today, maybe we all have the opportunity to contribute to better equality in this sector, either as employers, as representatives of the industry, as parents, as well as teachers, but also as representatives of international organizations. And none of this would have been possible without the insights and the stories of so many amazing women who contributed their voices. They gave this work its voice and its direction. And you'll get to know all those wonderful women when you're taking a deep dive into the 2 reports. Some of them are here today, so those who know me, welcome to this webinar. It was really amazing talking to you. Yeah, but before we continue now, we would like to give you a voice. We would like to hear from you, and we have prepared some questions. So I hand back over to Kerstin again.
Yeah, so you will find a link in the chat. Daniela, please post the link to a short survey. And we have 3 questions to you. The first one is, how would you assess the current level of gender equality for women in the refrigeration and air conditioning sector? So do you think the current level of gender equality is very high, high, moderate, low, or very low? And then if you go on with filling out the form, you will have the question, to what extent do you agree with the following statement? And the statement is, I see sufficient career opportunities for women in the refrigeration and air conditioning sector. Do you strongly disagree, or do you strongly agree that there are sufficient career opportunities for women? And then the last question, sorry, I think the presentation is not up to date to what in the end we decided to be the last question. Our last question is, what do you consider to be the most significant barriers for women in the refrigeration and air conditioning sector? So please follow the link that Daniela has just posted and give us your answer to those questions. Instead of following the link, you can also use your mobile phone and scan this QR code. And then we are curious to find your answers. I don't see any answers coming in yet. Please, you might raise your virtual hand if you have any technical problems. Could maybe someone give me a sign if you can access the chat and find the link, or access the link via the QR code?
The link works, Kerstin, at least for me.
I'll try to refresh. Ah, yeah, sorry. I needed to refresh. Now it's working. Now the answers are coming in, as you're seeing. Okay, so most of those who have answered think that the current level of gender equality for women in the rec sector is very low, and some think it's low or moderate, and nobody thinks there is a high level of gender equality. So let's have a look at the second question. I see sufficient career opportunities for women in the refrigeration and air conditioning sector. There, the range is a bit wider. Most do agree that there are sufficient career opportunities, but there are also some who disagree or strongly disagree. And then maybe the most interesting question, what do you think are the most significant barriers for women in the refrigeration and air conditioning sector? So we see stereotypes and safety access to training. We see the acceptance of women. We find that it starts already in elementary school, that work-life balance is a problem, that there are no models in the sector. There's a lack of education and training, low awareness, a poor mindset. So yeah, many different barriers that are going on. And there are still some more answers coming in. So thank you. And I think that already gives us some overview of the situation. So thank you for sharing your opinions, and I hand back to you, Elke.
Thank you. I hope you see my screen again, my presentation.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, thank you. And then I would like to talk about some key facts about the RAC sector. It's around 12 million people who are employed globally in the sector in refrigeration, air conditioning, and cooling system. And that's around 5 in every 1,000 working people involved in producing, installing, maintaining, or servicing cooling systems. So that's quite a lot. The training of skilled workers directly on the job, that has declined in most countries in the last years or decennias. And which means that this traditional form of training were mostly men, men who were already familiar with the tasks in the sector, passed on their knowledge and skills to others that are really mostly men again that declined. And in most countries now, specialized training programs have been established, and as a result, women's access to the job has generally improved. That's important because in many regions there's still a significant shortage of skilled labor, but it's not alone that this access has improved, but there are quite a lot of obstacles still, and we will come back to that later on. Because the gender imbalances in this sector, they are still significant. I conducted interviews in countries across different continents with very different political, cultural, and economic contexts. Yeah, you remember Bangladesh, Kenya, and Colombia. And what really stood out during those interviews, that despite all the differences, the challenges women face in the sector, they are strikingly similar. And it's only about 6% of members in national refrigeration and air conditioning organizations that are women. And just to contrast it, because this contrast is quite interesting, when we speak about STEM overall, so science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, it's around 30% the share of women in STEM overall, and in the RAC field, it's only more or less 6%, so that's really a big difference. it's far below the average in the STEM subjects. But yeah, we are also confronting a lot of women connecting now. But all of them, usually they comment about the same obstacles, the same challenges they face. And here is some information Ellen already talked about from a survey from the International Institute of Refrigeration, where 810 women from all different continents have taken part in a survey. And when asked about their biggest challenges they face in the field, they mentioned the following. They mentioned the difficulty to maintaining a healthy work-life balance. And in many countries, the main caregivers, it's still women, and that means they really have to balance a very complex private life and also a challenging professional life, and to maintain a healthy work-life balance. That's quite a challenge for those women in the field. But it's also the lack of career opportunities and advancement prospects. It's also stereotypes or prejudices against women. They can come from clients, they can come from employers, but also from colleagues as well. Sometimes women commented that clients didn't want to work with a woman. They didn't trust that she can do the same tasks, that she can repair cooling system as efficiently, as good as a man. Then another point is that they don't have other female colleagues in their company. They feel quite isolated, and limited opportunities for further training to develop their skills. Because most of the women I talked to, they were really highly ambitious, so they really want to develop their skills, and sometimes they find that they don't get the necessary support in doing that from their employers, from their colleagues as well. But despite all those very real obstacles, there are those women who handle it and who really have a lot of energy to stay in this field, to enter the field, to confront all those challenges. And you will find all those women in the reports. And there is one woman here today who gave me a really insightful look into her professional world, who even took me along digitally to show me her working environment, her colleagues, and she will share her perspective with us today. It's Betzabe Parra from Colombia. She's working as technician. She's currently in training. She didn't start in this field. She started in general services, and it was her sister making her joining this field of the refrigeration and air conditioning sector. And she once said to me, "We women have to work twice as hard as men." So we are quite curious. Betzabe, I saw that you're here, so maybe you would like to comment on your experiences. You're here. I already saw you, Betzabe. Can you unmute yourself? Maybe you're still muted.
Buenos días.
Yes, okay. Here you are. Okay.
But we cannot yet see you. Maybe you want to also start your camera.
Bueno, les contaré mi historia así rapidita. Pero pues en español, porque no pude traducir, lo siento mucho.
Okay, so she is just excusing that she doesn't manage to speak English because she didn't have time to translate it. So she will talk Spanish. We will try to translate. Okay, Si puedes.
Ok, te lo voy diciendo en español, no hay problema.
Si puedes. Trato
Ok.
de traducir.
Ok. Buenos días a todos. Mi nombre es Betzabe y yo soy técnica en refrigeración. La
Yeah,
verdad, cuando le cuento,
she is a technician in the RAC sector. Okay.
cuando yo le cuento a la gente a qué me dedico, la reacción casi siempre es la misma, de sorpresa.
When she's telling about her experiences, it's quite often that she's confronted with surprise.
Y bueno, pues porque cuando decidí iniciar este oficio, muchas personas me dijeron que este oficio era para hombres, que esto era muy difícil para mí. Y bueno, el prejuicio estaba ahí desde el inicio.
And since she started her career, even before, everybody was having the same prejudice that everybody telling her it's not for women, it's just for men, this field she's working in now.
Pero eso lejos de asustarme, creo que eso se convirtió en el motor de mi carrera. Eso me motivó a demostrar que las mujeres también tenemos la capacidad, la disciplina y la pasión para trabajar en esto.
But she was really taking it as, she calls it a motor for her career. So that was giving her additional motivation to do her best in the job and to enter the field.
And to show that women are also capable and have the discipline and the skills to do this job.
Yes, thanks. We do it together. The translation. Okay, puedes continuar, Betzabe.
Okay. Bueno, mi trabajo pues es como lo opuesto a la rutina y creo que eso es lo que más me gusta. Pues un día normal empieza temprano, yo reviso mi agenda, organizo mis herramientas, pero me gusta porque cada servicio es diferente.
And what she really likes in her career is that no day is like the other. So she has to get up quite early in the morning. She is arranging her tools, and she knows that the day will be quite different to the other day she had the day before.
Sí, bueno, cada servicio es diferente. Puedo instalar un nevecón en la mañana, hacer un mantenimiento de la hora en la tarde y realizar una fuga o carga de gas en la noche, dependiendo pues la complejidad del trabajo.
So it's depending on the complexity of her work, how much time she invests for the different activities. I also get a little bit back to what she was telling me when we had the interview, and she can have very different activities during the day. So that could be quite differing from one activity to the other one.
Bueno, no voy a decir que ser una mujer en este oficio dominado por hombres ha sido un camino con dificultades. Al comienzo, los clientes me miraban con desconfianza y preguntaban si sabía o no sabía.
And being a woman in this sector was quite challenging from the very beginning. But I think she always could prove that she really knows about what she's talking.
Pero pues lo más frustrante yo creo que es la parte económica, ya que algunos clientes al ver que los atiende una mujer, menosprecian el trabajo y ofrecen un valor mínimo al que ya se había establecido.
But it seems that especially clients sometimes pose challenges because, especially regarding financial reasons, because they don't value the work she's doing the same way as if a man did the work. So in the end, they pay less to, or are not willing to pay the same amount of money to a woman.
Y bueno,
Mhm.
pero pues gracias a Dios, hay unos clientes que también nos apoyan y
Mhm.
eso es ahí donde, digamos, nos recomiendan y hace que esa habilidad se imponga al prejuicio.
Mhm. But I think, yeah, what is quite important always is that they have those allies and people who believe in those women and who really support them.
Recuerdo una anécdota, tuve que ir a revisar un equipo que ya habían revisado otros técnicos y que
Mhm.
lo habían dado por perdido. Entonces, pues yo fui y lo revisé, sí estaba contaminado, pero después de realizar varias limpiezas lo logré sacar adelante y lo arreglé. Y pues el cliente quedó maravillado. Y es uno de los clientes que más
Mhm.
me recomienda.
Mhm. She had a personal anecdote that once her colleagues have been to some place and they apparently didn't manage to work on the issue, but actually she was going there. She could arrange it, and now she has a very trustful relationship with this client. And
Y no, pues
uh,
hoy miro hacia atrás y pues yo me siento muy orgullosa de todo lo que he logrado.
and she's very
De,
proud of what she has reached until now.
de que, digamos, a como voy hoy, ya estoy estudiando una ingeniería,
Mhm.
ya he, digamos, logrado motivar a otras personas
Mhm.
y he logrado romper ese tipo de paradigma de estereotipos de que si eres mujer no puedes.
Mhm. And she's really trying now to motivate other women as well and to break with the stereotypes that or the prejudices that women can't work in this sector, can't do it, don't have enough or don't have the necessary skills.
Y pues ahora lo que quiero es como especializarme en el campo de las energías renovables, ya que con lo que nos han capacitado, he entendido que hay que ayudar a cuidar el planeta.
And she really, she told me several times when we have been in conversation earlier that she really does this job because she somehow feels she needs to save the planet. So now she's really trying to get deeper into this field of renewable energies because that's some very important work for the future. Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
Gracias.
muchas gracias. Okay, thank you. I think we can come back to her maybe later if we have some questions or if we still have the time. But now I would like to have a look at the different factors to promote gender equality in the sector. And I think, yeah, Betzabe has mentioned some of them already that were quite helpful to her, but also where she's helpful to others now. And yeah, every career path has key moments, important phases that shape how a career path develops. And in this sector of cooling, refrigeration, these moments are especially crucial for women as they often come with specific challenges. And by providing support during these key phases or these key moments, we can help break down barriers and create equal opportunities for all. And let's have a look at the different key moments in a professional career. We have this moment of career choice. That's the moment when still very young people quite often take the decision about which career to choose. Whether going into this field of refrigeration and air conditioning or not. And in this moment of career choice, it's quite important, which kind of stereotypes, which kind of expectations are they confronted? So what's the maybe also parents, their environments, expectation, what are their stereotypes about different job options for them. And yeah, there might be one important factor that can lead them towards this career choice, or yeah, hinder them to take this career choice. And then we face another huge big key element or key moment, which is education. And that's the moment many young women find themselves for the first time in their life, maybe in a quite male-dominated field. So now they might have this feeling of isolation. They are maybe the first ones to enter, or amongst the first ones to enter a field where not that many women have worked before, have studied before. And when they are quite underrepresented, they really need a lot of support that they can, somehow further on go this way and believe in their skills. And then they have career entry, and sometimes it's still the case that during education they have quite okay conditions, but career entry can be quite rude for women, because then they are really on the job market. They have to prove their skills, but they are also confronted with colleagues, with employers, and with clients as well. And I already mentioned that sometimes clients, for instance, or employers are still questioning the capabilities, the abilities of women to work in this field. So here they quite often face kind of uncertainty. Is it too technical for them, too difficult for them? Some fields still require physical activity, and they have to be strong to do the different tasks. So there might be a lot of biases, a lot of prejudices they confront, and they really have to be strong to be able to cope with all those difficulties in this phase of career entry. And then, of course, daily work routine. That's quite often still dominated with microaggressions, for instance, clients preferring a man, but also now there comes this combination of work and family life, and which really has to function, and where there is also high demand that employers can be flexible, especially towards women, especially in those countries where most of the workload in this caregiving situation still is on women. And last but not least, career progression, especially for those women who want to reach leadership positions. They quite often face this famous kind of glass ceiling. At this moment, they are confronted with male networks, and at this phase also need some a special support to get along and to really make their career work. So that's the key moments, and for each of those key moments there are recommendations to create equal opportunities in the two reports written. And for those who can stay another 30 minutes, we will explore these together in breakout sessions and discuss them. And for those who need to leave, it's for me now time to say thank you for being here today, for your interest. And I really hope that the reports help promote gender equality in the sector, and that it helps you to contribute to this promotion of gender equality. And I will hand over to Kerstin now to start the breakout sessions.
Thank you so much, Elke, for this presentation. And thank you also to Betzabe for giving us some insights from your personal experiences. Before we go into the breakout sessions, I would like to know, are there any questions that you have to Elke or to Betzabe? please write them in the chat, or also you can raise your virtual hand and we can give you the permission to open your microphone. So if you don't have yes, there is something in the chat. Shauria Anand says, what proven approaches have countries or organizations used to systematically map and analyze women's roles across refrigeration and air conditioning subsectors, such as training institutes, manufacturing and servicing sector? And how can we balance quantitative data, for example, enrollment ratios, with qualitative factors like social and cultural barriers? Before we come to the second question, Elke, do you want to comment on this one? That's quite vast question.
That's quite an that's quite a complex question. Regarding the screening of the sector, I can refer on the one hand side, of course, to those two reports where you can find a lot of background information. But on a global level, a lot of work was done, and this was also mentioned here now by the Institute International, by the IIR, the International Institute of Refrigeration. So the work, the survey I mentioned, it's also done by them. And so I think that's the most complex or the most extensive survey done so far for the sector. And there are certain there is certain data available in certain countries, but sometimes it's just for very specific sectors in this huge field. So I would say please have a look at the reports. You will find a lot of background sources there, and maybe also the questions, the answers, the best answers to your questions in those different background sources.
I think in general there is still a lack of data. So both IAR and the Ozone Secretariat are going on to gathering data on exactly these issues.
Yeah. So I think it's as in many other fields of STEM, a lack of data, because it's just now really getting more important.
True. So Shauria Anand has still another question, which is, can you name one short-term and long-term area of attention to increase women's participation? But I think that's exactly what we will deep dive into right now, right?
Exactly.
Elke?
Yes, exactly. I would say so. And it might also be that it's not that one for all countries or all cultural contexts, but that every sector, every situation has a different prioritization regarding the recommendations, how you can contribute to better equality in the sector. But we will have a dive on that in the breakout sessions.
Right. So Elke, do you want to explain a bit more what you have thought of about the work in the breakout sessions? How should the participants continue?
Yes, actually, I think it's always quite good to have discussions in smaller groups. So actually, we will form smaller groups via those breakout sessions. And the main questions, it's about how we can strengthen gender equality for women in the REC sector. And which of those measures, those recommendations you consider the most effective for improving equality in the industry. We will give you the link to the reports, to the condensed report in a short moment. And yeah, which one would you personally wish for you in your own career path? Maybe some of you are working in the field, or where do you see the greatest potential yourself? So let's have a look at the different recommendations and discuss how you see those recommendations and which ones make sense for you or in your field of activity.
And Daniela has already posted the link in the chat where you can download our short handbook with the recommendations for actions. You can also download the full report here, but I think for the working session now, the short handbook is easier to use. And we will also post those again in the breakout sessions, which I will start in a few minutes. I think that some of you might already have to leave, as at the beginning this webinar was only planned for 1 hour. So thank you for participating, and we would be very happy if some of you can stay longer and join the breakout sessions that I will start now. And we will stop the recording so that you have a very free exchange in the breakout sessions and you can speak openly, freely.